So Erik, I'm curious as a coach, what's it like talking truth to power?
Yeah, that's what I love most about the work, I think. But it is a very uncertain outcome. So sometimes you can see it in the eyes of the client that you're kind of losing them. You're trying to reach out, but you said something that's just so out of their normal thinking, or so blunt, or without knowing it, without being able to predict that, you sometimes lose a client because they feel, this is somebody from a business school or from another country. They don't understand really what it is like for me. So this is something that I've increasingly tried to prevent by saying maybe I don't understand what it feels for you. A black person, a black woman in a position of power in this company. Maybe I won't be able to understand that. And usually you're now nodding. Usually they nod even harder than you do right now. So they recognize that a lot of people who are different, or especially when there are social differences and other people are more privileged maybe, that they don't fully understand them. So I try to kind of, it's like rolling out a bridge towards the person first.
It's difficult territory, I would say, because we know from all the data and analysis we've done, power is usually one of those driving forces for most leaders. Many leaders are very high on status. And what I mean by that is also getting things right and being successful. Success is often this kind of driver that many leaders have, psychologically, that we see.
Yeah.
And so, to some extent, talking to power in those circumstances is acknowledging failure or threats, risks, things that can go wrong, which is almost the nemesis to the natural things that are important to leaders. And I'm curious about how you do that. How do you recognise the right time to perhaps mention it, or what goes through your mind, what goes through a coach's mind before tackling this?
Yeah. Well, I often experience myself as quite clumsy, as not having the right timing, or some of my clients have said in the past that I blush, and I do blush. And then they say, you're blushing again. So you're not feeling comfortable, Erik. And I like that sort of feeling in the room. If they're saying, you're not comfortable, because it makes them more comfortable. So sometimes my clumsiness or bad timing is part of the work. And it's just for me to sit with the fact, oh gosh, I may have said this a bit too early, too soon, because I don't know you very well. I just said something that's clearly having an effect on you. Maybe I said it, maybe I was wrong, maybe I said it too soon. And so it's worth doing and trying again and again, because, when you speak, as you say, truth to power, and it lands, that's a very gratifying experience as well. So there's an immediate closeness. So you go from two individuals talking to one person looking at the same thing. So you feel very connected, and it's just nice to be in a room where somebody makes a big discovery that's going to help them. Maybe I sometimes comment on lack of eye contact. Some leaders, they're maybe a bit nerdy and they don't make much eye contact. And sometimes if I comment on that, they say, no, nobody says that to me. And then they go back home, they check it at home, and they come back to me and say, my daughter said the same, and it's transformative for them. And just to be with a transformation like that, this is a simple example, but is very gratifying.
I think it's a great example. I guess what goes through my mind at this point is that can also be disruptive in a positive way, but it can also unnerve the leader as well, in the sense of, and maybe reflecting on a bit like this all the time, it can actually create a state of flux for them,
of guilt, even shame,
all of these things. So I guess the question in my mind comes to, what should a coach do? Do you leave it at that, for example? do you need to help them with a strategy to overcome it? Do you explore that there and then, or do you need to allow them to just soak it up?
It depends very much. Yeah, you know about bad news conversation. If it's bad news, unexpected bad news, you have to give them quite a lot of time maybe to work that through. But in other occasions, it can be like, now I know why nobody goes along with this. Now I know, and then it's then you're already in an upwards trajectory from the beginning. So it depends very much, and it can even be
because it could be damaging, couldn't it?
If it's bad news
well,
and you react to that, it could be an adverse reaction,
right?
Shutting down. And I can recognize it in the eye contact immediately. I sometimes see people kind of dismissing me in the eyes, and it can even lead to this being the last session, and that was it.
That takes a degree of courage on the part of the coach to be able to
and the client
and the client to hear it.
Yes.
The client is going to hear it if the coach isn't courageous enough to put it on the table, so to speak.
Yeah.
What advice would you give coaches to think about these things?
Well, just say it. Just do put it on the table and do it with integrity. So do it from a stance of loving your client. So, and that's why I'm saying niceness and challenge becomes the same thing, because it's both trying to kind of offer your clients a gift.